Well, good morning, everybody. It's Hope in the New Testament. We're in the book of Acts, and we're going to be there for a little bit longer. We're going to be there. We're in chapter 16, verses 16 through 19. And in this passage, we see that Paul and Silas have been teaching and they've been preaching. And while they've been doing this, there's been a young girl who has been possessed by a spirit, has been following them for days. She has been proclaiming loudly to everyone that these are the men of servants of the Most High God who proclaim to you the way of salvation. She's been yelling this out for days. And here's where our passage picks up. As we were going into the place of prayer, we were met by a slave girl who had a spirit of divination and brought her owners very much gain by fortune telling. She followed Paul and us, crying out, "These men are servants of the Most High God, who proclaim to you the way of salvation." And as she kept doing this for many days, Paul, having become greatly annoyed, turned and said to the spirit, "I command you in the name of Jesus Christ to come out of her." And it came out that very hour. But when her owners saw that their hope of gain was gone, they seized Paul and Silas and dragged them into the marketplace before the rulers. Now we see this is kind of the backside of what we would normally be looking at as hope. They had put these people, the owners of this slave girl, had put their hopes in abusing this girl, using her for what money and monetary gain they could get. And when their hope of that disappeared, they were very upset. Perhaps understandably, but Paul and Silas actually were there to serve God. And this girl had proclaimed exactly what they were there for, that they were servants of the Most High God, that they were proclaiming the message of salvation and a way to be saved. Now, the owner of the slave girl never picked up on that. Or if they did, they didn't care because they were out their money. And now Paul and Silas are arrested because of this other people's hope had been dashed. They put their hope in the wrong place, and the consequence rippled out. Now we see how this progresses into the future, how God used this situation mightily so that a jailer and his whole house became saved and were baptized, even though they went through very hard times. They'd been beaten and thrown into jail. God used the situation in the midst of chaos, in the midst of what seems to be wrong, to grant salvation. Where we put our hope, this is a recurring theme as we put this, where we put our hope dictates how things will progress for us. When we put our hope in Jesus and our hope in God, He looks after things. We can trust Him for the consequences of that hope because He will have the best in mind for us. And it might not look like what we expect, but He can use us in every situation. Put your hope in Him today. I hope this has been encouragement to your heart today. Have a good one.